Alright, hey guys, welcome to another episode of Santanology. Here I'm going to be discussing a few current events, a few things that have been crossing my mind that I've been wanting to speak about. There's a lot going on. Sidney Powell, she's gotten disavowed by the Trump administration. Michigan has been certified for Georgia and a lot of other stuff. So, I'm just going to get into it. There's a lot of stuff. The Great Reset, Joe Biden canceling student debt. So we're going to go into more detail about these subjects, and let's get started. So the first one is Sidney Powell, the woman who claimed she had proof of election fraud, officially disavowed by Trump's legal team and the Trump cabinet. She went from telling Tucker Carlson that there will be proof to never provide. She basically told Tucker Carlson to wait on it, that she's going to have proof that this election fraud is happening and that there will be a whole thing happening regarding it. So far, she hasn't shown any proof, and when she was pushed to show proof, she told Tucker Carlson's team to stop contacting her. She also claimed that the reason that she told them to stop talking to them is because they were being aggressive, pushy, and negative. I find that to be extremely, disheartening, due to the fact that even if someone is doing that, you still be able to provide the proof. That doesn't stop anyone from providing proof. This woman, Sidney Powell, has become a figure. She put herself into the spotlight, and now she can't provide on any of the claims that she's talking about. It's, if I was to make a claim like I saw the face of God, but I had no proof, everyone would call me a crazy madman. I don't understand why the right wing is still supporting her and still saying that we should listen to her and we should take her as a legit source and a credible subject into what we are trying to push and what we are trying to, do. It makes no sense. Sidney Powell has proved herself, even though she is like a corporate or political lawyer for whoever. I think she's like a lawyer for the CIA or something like that. I have no idea, but it's something in correlation with that. She's basically, she's full of crap. She hasn't done anything to provide proof, and we're still here waiting on the proof. It's been a week now, and she still hasn't provided anything. I know she's not going to provide anything, and if she provides anything, it's going to be loose, very non-concrete conspiracy tier things. So I'm really not looking forward to anything she has to say. She's not genuine. She's not real. She's just another person trying to sow chaos and dissent amongst our country, and she is doing a lot of things that is not helping our situations in any way, shape, or form. If I was a full-blown Trump supporter, I would say that this person is making us look bad. She's not holding us down. She's not doing anything to help us in any way, shape, or form. She's just spewing off at the mouth at nothing that really matters, Sidney Powell was banned from Twitter for 12 hours due to the fact that the Twitter gods have proven that this woman is not coherent. She's not official. The fact that someone of her stature gets banned from Twitter, it really says a lot, because it's really not hard to get banned from Twitter if you're not saying anything racist or ridiculous or false. If you're not spreading disinformation, you won't get banned from social media. It's really hard to stay in line and in tune with these corporate powers and these technology gurus, and then to stay in line with their agenda. It's really not hard, I don't believe Sidney Powell at all. I don't know where she's coming from. I know where she's coming from. She's trying to prove that the election was fraud. But just because you're a sore loser doesn't mean the election was fraud. People, Trump was good in a sense, but at the end of the day, more people thought he was too rash, he was too irrational, he was too belligerent, and no one wanted to follow up with someone who didn't have the grace that Joe Biden has. You can say Joe Biden has dementia and he has all these problems going on with him, but at the end of the day, Joe Biden, even with all these problems and all these hiccups, still has more grace than Donald Trump. Donald Trump refuses to bow out and refuses to, concede officially, even though Donald Trump has said that he will help with the transitioning of Biden into the presidency. He said this recently, I think he said it today or yesterday. It was yesterday, actually, on the 23rd. He said it, Monday the 23rd. But you know, Trump, either Trump is making it seem like he wants to fight for the people, or he has already agreed that he's defeated on the show for all his Republican base, so that they don't abandon him for whatever future endeavors him and his family has. It's obvious what he's doing. He's trying to He's trying to retain a following, and I can't really say too much. It's a smart move. It's a good ploy. He's going out swinging, but at the end of the day, he's a chump. Trump is a chump. President Trump. It's crazy. Trump had a lot of good ideas, but he had mostly bad ideas. He lifted restrictions on extinction of animals. He lifted restrictions on polluting waterways. He's still about that old, neocon, rhino ideology where like he only wants to push things that are from like the policies from like the 80s and the 90s. We're in the year 2020. We need to be more progressive. Why are we still pushing policies from the Bush era? It makes no sense to be pushing these policies. It doesn't help us as a community, as a nation. There's nothing wrong with helping the people on the taxpayer's dime. President Obama came up with a plan to pay for universal college for everybody, and it was only going to cost, I think, it was $180 billion a year. That came to $33 a year for every taxpaying citizen, and if you divide that by 12, that'd be like $2 or less than $2 a month for paying for universal college for everybody. If you divided that further, that'd be 50 cents a week. If you can't afford 50 cents a week to help your fellow man and help your fellow citizen, then you're crazy. There's something obviously wrong with you. You need to be shunned from society. You need to be taken away from society and kept in your own bubble of greed and kept in your own bubble of nonsense where you can stay away from the rest of us and not bother us. Because if you can't help someone with 50 cents a week, you are a poor human being. Especially, I'm a Christian. Especially to all these Christians who are talking about, yeah, people should pay their own student debt. Well, we have 1.5 trillion student debt, and it's either not going to be paid or it's going to be ignored regardless. So anyways, you should help these people in trying to get rid of the student debt. We can't claim bankruptcy on these student debt, so there's not much we can do. It makes no sense to take out of people's Social Security when they turn 75 that it makes no sense to take out of their Social Security at the age of 75 a student debt when they're going to die in less than 10 to 20 years. That's robbery. That's a racket. We can't provide. If we can't provide for our people to that extent, how can we say we're a first world country? We can't even say we're a first world country. Most countries in Canada, most countries in Europe have universal health care and have universal college. They help their people. All their people are educated. That's why people tend to find Europe more lax. That's why Europe tends to find us more rash and irrational. They're always asking us why we have guns. Even though I believe in guns, they're always asking why are we shooting everything up? Why are there so many gun deaths over there? Why are the police shooting everything up? I'm for the police, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of people who are doing things that they don't have to do because they feel turned off by their opposition, no matter who they might be. But I'm ranting and I'm going off subject. Sidney Powell is not credible. She's full of crap, and she hasn't provided any proof. It's been a week. Anyone who has proof and is really eager and confident and genuine in providing proof will provide that proof and help people with what they have to do. Michigan is certified. Georgia is certified. Trump can't say anything. The Supreme Court has majority Republicans, and I don't feel there's no time soon, except for this one Republican who's like 80 years old. He might die in the next 5 years if we're lucky, and we'll get an extra Democrat on the Supreme Court. But other than that, I don't feel the Supreme Court has the right to take anything away from the American people. We voted with our vote. We took times out of our days to express our free speech, to express our ideas and opinions, Republicans and to go ahead and push it through a president that will represent us, which is Joe Biden. I didn't even want Joe Biden. I wanted Bernie Sanders. I voted for Bernie Sanders when it came to the primaries, but apparently Bernie Sanders didn't have enough delegates, and more black people felt that they should follow Joe Biden because he was under Obama's administration, even though Bernie Sanders made more sense for the people and was talking about more credible sources for the people. And again, I'm ranting and I'm going off course, but this is where my thought leads me to. Here's the next thing. Here's the next subject. It's less intense. Israeli scientists supposedly reverse human aging. So in Israel, there's a bunch of scientists getting together, and they're using oxygen therapy to reverse aging by like 50, 20 years. You know, this is groundbreaking. This is awesome. You know, this is life extending science. You know, imagine if humans could live an extra 50, 20, 100, or even 1,000 years, how much more society would get done, how much more society would be compelled to move forward, how much further society can, you know, evolve itself in order to become the utopia we wish to become. Because at the end of the day, all these governments represent, whether they're communists, capitalists, you know, socialists, they're all representing a push towards utopia, a push towards helping all the people. You know, so this is a very good thing that Israel, you know, I love Israel. Israel is awesome. It's the only democracy that I know of in the Middle East. I'm pretty ignorant of like geopolitics and stuff, but Israel is awesome. It's like in America in the Middle East, and I would like to visit one day. But they have extended life, you know, they have extended our lives scientifically, and they're certified in what they're saying. It says they put a subject in a hyperbaric chamber and have them breathe pure oxygen for 90 minutes a day for about 90 days. And their cellular aging reversed by like 25 years. It's an incredible result, and it's a very genuine thing to be happy about. I love it, you know. I've heard about Michael Jackson. Supposedly, he used to sleep in an oxygen tank in order to... He used to sleep in an oxygen tank in order to reverse and to stop aging. There's pictures of Michael Jackson. I can't pull them up right now because, you know, my engineer hasn't set these things up. I'm still using a very rough webcam. I'm still building up this podcast. You know, I'm still evolving this thing. So maybe in the future I'll be able to show you guys specific examples. But if you Google it and you look it up, there are pictures of Michael Jackson sleeping in a hyperbolic time chamber. That's probably why he always looked younger than he really did. He was 35, still looking like a 21-year-old. This has a lot of merit. This oxygen therapy is a very good thing. It's a very beautiful thing. You know, it's awesome. If it can reverse your aging by 20 years, that's a great thing. I'm all for it. I would love to live infinitely. I would love to be immortal. I would love to be eternal, you know? I could accomplish things every 20 years that would change the world if I had so much life to me, you know? I'm pretty sure the elites have a agenda on wanting to live longer. You know, if they give it to the people who can afford it or cannot afford it, in whatever way they happen to implement it, it's a great thing and it's a good thing. I believe in it and I want to do it. Now, you know, on to the next subject that we're going to talk about, the Great Reset. I'm not very familiar with this term, the Great Reset. I've looked up terms on it, and it's very vague what everybody is saying. But basically, from what I know, the Great Reset is like resetting everyone's debt, resetting everyone's credit, resetting everyone's, you know, financial obligations. I think this is a very good idea. It is also about resetting nations' debt. If you can reset a nation's debt and people's debt, then that would make us more free to spend the same amount of money we spend to get in debt in order to stimulate the same economy. But just because they reset it doesn't mean that that what was owed is apparently not never owed and not reciprocated in order to help the economy who was the taker of such debt. You know, it could be that in a sense that what we owe that person is settled, but it's also settled for us in a way that our debt is resetted, but it also helps them. You know, I'm not sure in what way exactly because I haven't given this much thought. I'm freestyling this, but it's very good. You know, we can We can provide for them what we have to provide for them. You know, all of this stuff is monetary. It's all computers. All we have to do is all the right person has to do, or the right banker has to do, is give a surplus into their accounts, saying all of this is paid, while putting us in the negative as far as debt goes. Not even zero as far as debt goes, but putting us in the negative, so we're able to spend more money in order to fulfill the needs of a society. If I had zero, I have $2,000 debt right now, simply due to Verizon and a contract I took back in 2008 and 2009, and I put someone on my contract and they didn't pay it back. Well, I'm stuck with that debt now, and I have to pay it all right now. I can't pay it back because I don't make that much, and I have to provide for myself and my own household and my own bills. So it's a great reset would be good. The only thing is that I wish I would have went to college sooner, or I haven't been to college, but I wish I would have went to college, taken out all these debts, and they would have gotten forgiven. My only discrepancy about this is that, what about the people who haven't been to college yet? Will their debt be resetted also, or is it going to be for the people so far who have taken on debt? Will their debt be resetted also? You know, I think everyone's debt should be resetted at regular intervals. I think every 20 years the debt should be resetted. If you haven't paid back, the person's account should be credited and the debt should be resetted. Even though that sounds, pretty much what repaying a debt sounds like, I feel like even if you can't pay the whole debt, the debt should be accredited to a certain amount, and that our debt should be resetted. It'd be a great thing. It will stimulate the economy. It will help us. And it'd be awesome, honestly. A great reset is what we all need. If they could great reset us into all having $700 credit scores and allow us to take out loans and things to push us into the future, I'd be more for it. I'm all about it. I really would not be against that. And that brings me to my next subject: Joe Biden canceling student debt. Student debt, I think, is at 1.5 trillion. How can our national debt, I'm not even sure what our national debt was, but back in the Bush era, it was like 2 trillion or 6 trillion or something like that. We owe 1.5 trillion in student debt. We owe 1.5 trillion because we wanted to be educated. Why is it the fact that we want to be educated costs so much? Why should we take out 100,000 or 300,000 just to gain a master's so that we can help society and provide for our families in surplus? It makes no sense. I don't want to be a part of that. It's a corporate scheme. It's an old style scheme. It's not even an FDR type of scheme. It's an old neocon, scheme where it's just trying to enslave the people through monetary debt. And it's not trying to help us in any way, shape, or form. We need to evolve past all things. The same way we evolve with hate speech and free speech and understanding, the same way we evolve with gender pronouns and recognizing people for what they identify as. This is the way we need to evolve monetarily. We need to help the people. We cannot keep enslaving people with debt. This debt system does not work. Even though it helps us, even though right now we are comfortable with it and we are used to it, there are infinite possibilities that we could implement in order to help the people. There should be no reason why we are still stuck with a debt system. But even though we are, and most likely we will be stuck with it for the future, we will be stuck with this system, but maybe they can do something to ease our pain, to ease our suffering. Amazon, is the closest thing we have to a trillionaire that we know of publicly. Why is Amazon, taking away bonuses from the holiday season from workers just to pay off medical expenses on people on a charity scale? These are articles that I've looked up before, And sorry if I seem incoherent. I've been drinking, This video is not for children. I'm marking out for children. Hopefully you guys are entertained by that tidbit. I'm glad you guys are tuning in and watching. There's a lot of things going on this planet that I don't agree with, and I want you guys to know, just because I'll say this, I'm a capitalist, but just because socialism didn't work under a dictator, just because communism didn't work under a dictator, just because capitalism doesn't work under a dictator, and just because any unknown system we haven't discovered or put publicly yet didn't work under a dictator, doesn't mean it won't work under the right leader. You need the right circumstances. You need the right leader in order to accomplish what it is you want to accomplish. You can't work communism by killing and genociding 1.5 million people. The same way you couldn't work capitalism by genociding and killing 1.5 million people. It wouldn't make sense, it wouldn't work, and people would revolt. This is what you people need to understand. It's not the system that's broken, but it's the way the implementation of the system is that's broken, Free college. I believe in free college. If I could go to school for 12 years, 6 years, whatever, and become a psychiatrist all on a taxpayer dime, and all I had to do was, when I got employed, was to pay 50 cents a week. Even if I had to pay $3 extra a week on my check, I would do it. Even if my check was deducted $20 a week to pay for college, free health care, free socialized, all types of events like free socialized driving lessons and courses to make sure that you get your license and other trade skills and a CDL and stuff. I gladly pay $20 extra out of my paycheck just to, $20 a month just to help other people like me who are struggling. If it meant that the difference between a bum becoming successful was $3 a week, why would I not help them? That would help to the community, that would help to the society, that would help the economy. It would be great overall. It would be a bigger thing overall. I don't understand why people don't understand that when you live in a society, when you live in a collective, you have to support the people around you. It's not a foreign idea. It's not a big idea. It's really not even a controversial idea. If the man in front of you is starving and you make $100,000 a year and you can't even spare him $100, if you know he's going to genuinely spend it on food and clothes, then there's something wrong with you. You're the parasite of society. I'm not the parasite of society for accepting $100 to feed myself. You're the parasite because you're taking these high positions where more qualified, more genuine, more honest people could take up, and they could overcome all these obstacles that burden the lower class and the middle class. We don't need to be in class warfare. If we could just tax Netflix. Netflix pays no taxes. Why does Netflix pay no taxes? From what I know, Netflix is a multi-millionaire company. They might be a multi-billionaire company. I don't know. But Netflix should be paying taxes. Netflix should be at least paying $500,000 worth of taxes. But the fact that they pay zero makes no fucking... Excuse me for my language. Makes no sense. Makes no sense at all. Amazon. Amazon's worth like 200, 300, 400 billion. That's preposterous. Why does Jeff Bezos need that much money? You could buy a super jet for $4 billion. You could buy a super yacht for another $4 billion. You could spend $1 billion on a mega mansion. That's about $10 billion altogether. He makes way more than that. Why is he not paying taxes? Just because he pays his workers $15 an hour, just because he covers their insurance, just because he covers their lawyer fees if it comes up. No, if you're making that many billions, you should be able to pay your people at least $20 an hour, $23 an hour. It's really not such a far out concept. $50,000 a year for an Amazon warehouse worker to keep your company making billions is really not a bad trade-off. I'm sorry, but if I'm a CEO and you're telling me I get paid $3 billion a year, and if I had to sacrifice $1.5 billion to keep $1.5 billion, and all my employees would have a $50,000 a year salary, I would give that up freely. freely. And also, it makes no sense. It makes no sense the greed that's going on. One man doesn't need all that power, and I pray that the government and these politicians in society can do something about it. It is so far out to me that people will not help other people due to their creed, religion, their nationality, or their race or skin color, or their sexual preferences, that they won't want to help them out because of these things. They won't want to give them their money. Look, wherever you go on this planet, you're going to be taxed. If you don't like the United States and you move to Europe, you're going to be taxed, and it's going to help these things regardless. You go to Canada, you're going to be taxed. The only countries that don't tax for these type of things are third world and fourth world countries. America is looking like a second world country because it's really not a first world country. The fact that a lot of medical CEOs got locked up and are in federal jail right now because they kept overcharging on their medicine. Makes no type of sense to me. It makes no type of sense. Why would you charge $1,000 for an HIV medication when you could have charged $20, $30 and they would have been cured for life? You would have went down as a hero, as a saint in society, a modern day saint in corporate capitalist America. But no, you instead chose to be greedy and charge people $1,000. The majority of people are not college educated. The majority of people don't make $100,000 a year. There needs to be a way for us and people like us in order to survive and still be able to afford all these things that are being pushed upon us. Just because 100,000 people can afford a product at $1,000 doesn't mean 240 million people can afford it. And just because you made $1 billion off of that doesn't mean that the rest of it, you can make $1 billion off the rest of us. You should be over here taking things into consideration, taking measures and limiting yourself as to what abuse you can do amongst the population. Here's another thing, right? I feel that if you don't sell in America, for example, if you're like Apple, if you manufacture your products in China for like 30 cents, but you're trying to sell it here in the United States for $1,000, I feel that's illegal as hell. First of all, doesn't Apple use slave Chinese labor, and they're over here trying to sell us their product for $1,000, and they don't even provide a charger in the box? Like, how many billions of dollars do you greedy mofos need? You're not even employing that many people to even offset all the extra income you're making. You don't need that much money. It's crazy. The only company I would agree with making that much money is Google. And the only reason is that, for that fact, is because I've read that Google is, studying as far as transhumanism and life extension type of things. Google is studying into like robots and AI. That's an awesome thing. That's why I agree with Google. But for a company like Apple, you're making communication devices and you got to enslave people in China to sell it here for $1,000. That's crazy. That's ridiculous. I don't believe in that at all, and I don't agree with it. It's so far out. It's ridiculous. Also, check out my MTV shirt. To the people that were saying the moon landing was a hoax because of shadows, no, the moon landing was not a hoax. The government will not lie to us about something so extreme. What is his name? Buzz Aldrin, Buzz Lightyear, Buzz Aldrin, whatever it is, Neil Armstrong, whoever it is that's been to the moon, they are legitimate people. We've been to the moon. As you can see plastered across my shirt, that's a live picture from the moon with the MTV symbol edited on it. We've been to the moon. You guys need to stop with your conspiracy stuff. It's cool to do conspiracy things when you're like applying it to the media and you're applying it to pop culture and stuff like that. But when you apply it to the government, it's not really an awesome thing. It's really something to be frowned upon, because if the government has to keep something secret from us, it's because the majority of the population is stupid. And because they are stupid, they wouldn't be able to understand the reasoning behind keeping certain things secret. But enough about me ranting about off-subject things. Let's see. What's the next subject I can get into? I'm not really sure. Joe Biden becoming president. I really think this is a really good thing. They're already advocating for Joe Biden to forgive student debt. I think that's awesome. If Joe Biden takes Bernie onto his cabinet, that'd be awesome too. To have Kamala Harris as the first African American female vice president, that's awesome. At least we had a female in the vice presidency office. At least we're keeping up barely with Europe. It's really ridiculous that we're so far behind Europe, and people are like, "Yo, we're the greatest country," this, that, and the third. But there's a reason why, till this day, the euro is still worth more than the American dollar, and with inflation, the American dollar is becoming less and less. Kamala Harris wrote a bill, I think it was, trying to apply the minimum wage federally to everybody, where it was like $23 an hour to keep up with inflation. That's a great idea. But I know many people who will argue you should only be paid $3 an hour, $5 an hour, because that's the only thing a middle class, mom and pop shop can afford. I'll put it like this to make it simple for you. If a mom and pop shop can't afford to pay a $15 or $20 minimum hour, wage, then you shouldn't be a business. A business is about making money. You don't make only $10,000 a month, $15, $20, $30, $100,000 a month. If you're a business, you're making big bucks, you're making big money. And we're in the year 2020. This isn't the 1950s anymore, where you can sell candy for 5 cents and you can, try to move ahead into the future. We're in the future now. And you people need to start providing decent, livable wages. We're getting fed up, we're getting tired, and we need to survive. We shouldn't be struggling. We want to get drunk, we want to get high, we want to smoke marijuana, we want to do things. I don't smoke marijuana, but I'm speaking for the other people who do. We need to do these things, beyond our, we need to live beyond. We want to live beyond our means is what I'm saying. After we paid our rent, after we paid our food bills, after we paid our lights, internet, and cell phone bills, after we paid our cable, we want to be able to enjoy ourselves and relax. The suicide rates have gone up so much in this country to the point where the life expectancy of this country has fallen. Imagine if more of those people were able to get drunk and messed up on inebriants. They'd probably be escaping their life struggles through inebriants instead of committing suicide, which would be a better thing than just offing yourself and just telling your whole family, "Hey, I give up. We're all done." No, I don't agree with suicide. I don't agree with the life expectancy and where it's moving. We need to move forward. And here brings me to another subject. 4,000 people a year die due to trucking accidents. They are trying to automate the trucking industry, specifically Amazon, I know, is trying to automate the trucking industry. Why would you do this? They're about 0.06 of the population are truckers. Why would you want to destroy that infrastructure? Why would you want to destroy that environment? These are people who are military veterans who don't have a high school diploma or may have a high school diploma and no college education, and they became truckers. Now you're trying to steal that away from them by automating, jobs. It makes no sense to try and automate a truck driving job. If I'm pretty sure every corporation on the world would love to automate all of their positions. Literally every corporation would love to automate all of their positions to cut out every worker. But then again, where would all of us work? Where would all of us make an income? Where would all of us make a living? If you automate all of us, do you know what's going to happen? We're going to come for your head. We're going to eat the rich. So you need to make sure that you're keeping these things into consideration. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you shouldn't. Just because... Jay, chill out. I'm making a video, bro. Just because you can't do it doesn't mean you should do it. My engineer in the back always being goofy. Like I said in my last video, is being goofy. But anyways, this is all I wanted to share with you people. This is my rant for the day. I thank you guys for tuning into Santanology. Hopefully you guys have an A-OK day, and may you guys be blessed. For now, peace out.